Enchantess Oracle with you. And this evening I've had a young lady by the name of Britt, and she has asked about different, like psychic attack and being an empath and the angels and guides and, who contacts who and how it all works. So we've decided that we would come on here and go live. Now, I can't really see very well at the moment because I got this light here. But before I started recording, I tested it all out and showed me that it had plenty of light. And looking at this, and I can't see a thing. So forgive me, all right. Now, Brett asked about the psychic attack and why there is so much psychic attack going on at the moment, which I think is a really great question. Thanks, Brett. And things like that I forget about. I just think everybody knows, It's about that we're moving back into the golden age. So we started off in the golden age where some people call it the Garden of Eden. Other people call it, different things, but it's basically the golden age. So we start off as the golden age, and then we slowly move through the Iron Age, Copper Age, all that sort of stuff, medieval, all that. And we've gotten back around to, everything's got to complete itself. So we got the circle going on. So we're at that stage where everything's going to be absolutely chaotic, and because the before it gets back to where it's supposed to be, back to the golden age. So everything's going to be absolutely chaotic and barbaric and awful, and you'll see all the cruelty and everything like that, and people are going to be more aware of it, and they're not going to stand for it. They're going to change it. So that's basically what happens there. Does that make sense? I hope I'm making sense. What were your other questions, Brett? Can I get you to go live? It doesn't let me get you to go live. I thought you could. Okay. You know how you can invite someone else? I don't know how you invite someone else. I'm sure you can do it. Or is that only on YouTube? I don't know. And I can't see anything in the comments. And I don't know who's watching. Okay. And Britt also asked about the so the psychic attack. So because that's happening, because we're going back into the golden age, everything's going to get really chaotic, and you've got like the feminine energy and the masculine energy, the divine feminine, divine masculine. And so to get back to where we once were, you've got to have, when you're sick, and sometimes you've got to get worse before you get better. So it's that type of thing. So there's a lot of friction, chaos, and there's people deliberately going out there causing that chaos as well. And it's like, I've always said that, do you really know if you're dead? And so you got all these people who are dead also, all these entities who are coming into the universe and, being able to, oh, you're there, hybrid. And so they're able to communicate with us a lot more because so many of us are more aware. And now Britt said that being an empath, what happens with that? And it's like, well, you feel everything, and then you will know stuff, you will see stuff, you'll hear stuff, all your clairs, all your audios, you taste stuff, you smell stuff. You can be doing the dishes and all of a sudden, you're smelling somebody's perfume and you're like, I don't know that perfume. And it's like you're picking up on someone. Next thing, you go down the street, you're in the supermarket, and what do you know? You walk next to someone who's got that perfume. It can be things like that. You can pick up on the negative, heavy things will be the ones that you'll pick up on first, simply because they're heavy, they're thick, the energy's there, and it's right in your face, basically. The lighter stuff, the easiest, the nicer stuff, that can be a bit harder to tune in on, simply because it's like struggling. It's like you're trying to get yourself out of the mud, so be prepared for a lot of that. Don't beat yourself up if you're feeling something and, you've got to just have time out from everybody because it's just too much and too overwhelming. But at the same time, don't let that kind of thing rule your life. You can tell it what it can do and what it can't do. It's like, it's your game, it's your rules. So, you've got to decide what it is that you want to pick up on and what you want to be aware of. Um, you can use the angels and the gods and goddesses and, all the different higher beings and all that sort of stuff. Again, Britt asked a great question of who contacts who. Well, initially you contact them, and then you get guided by them. And I do suggest that you go through all the different pantheons, like the Greek and the Italian, like the Roman, um, and Indian, all that sort of stuff. American Indians, they have their stuff. Each culture will have their stuff, and what resonates with you the most, like the Irish stuff might resonate with you the most. So it's like you learn about them, you learn about what their beliefs were, who they believed in, how many gods, goddesses. The Vikings, they're a perfect example as well. They got many different gods and goddesses. There's a god and goddess for everything. Like Isis with her fertility in the Egyptian pantheon. So you go through and you find which one works for you, and you can work with all of them, but individually. It's like, if you're going to work on the Greek, work on the Greek for a month or something and just get to know each and every one. If you're going to work on the Roman, stay with them for a month. It could be a year. You could have a favorite one. You could just find one that you just resonate with, and it's like a best friend. So there's that kind of thing. What else? Also, there's a lot of the animals are dying at the moment. Britt asked about the pets and everything. And it's like a mass exodus, sort of, isn't it? Especially like we've had our bushfires and all that sort of stuff. I think it's Shannon O'Hara from Access Consciousness. She talks more into that because she talks with the animals and the entities and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so it's like the cruelty that's going on. The animals do know what's happening to them, and they have sort of put their hand up, so to speak, or their paw up, their wing up, whatever, to say, yeah, I accept this. And it's really hard. Like morally, it's like, oh, horrifying to think that they could put themselves in that situation just, so that we can evolve, basically. With the tarot, numerology, all the oracle type of stuff, the crystals, oils, I do suggest that you go into some of the shops, go into the get yourself some books, find what resonates with you. I don't think many of the libraries have very much that would be sort of what you want to know about. Some of them might have stuff about the oils and the crystals, but the tarot and numerology, I think I've got some spare books there. I can pass them on to your mum anyway. How is your mum? And I don't know what else you want to know, Britt. Do you have any other questions, Dal? Symbology. That's another good thing. What's his name? Professor Carl Jung, spelt Jung. He has a great book called, oh, thank you, she's okay, cool. He has a great book called Man and His Symbols, and that's a really important book as well, because everything we do, we learn by symbols. I know there's repetition and all that sort of stuff. Brother Panic talks about that, how we learn, the 3 ways we learn. I've forgotten there's 2. Yeah, and the repetition is one way that we learn, but also there's symbols. I would love to know more about crystals and herbs and oils, if that's okay. Yes, absolutely. Oils, you want your essential oils. Now, your essential oils, the way you're going to know the difference between essential oils and just normal oils is simply essential oils are going to cost a fortune and they're going to benefit you. And they are made from the real herbs. And find a brand that resonates with you. You might find that, all the woody style ones, like the tree ones, like cedarwood, sandalwood, those type of wood ones, you might find that you like them from a particular brand of oil. Then there might be another one that resonates with you with something else. It's like I myself, I really love the Australian stuff. I love the Australian oils. And there's about 3 different brands I get. I think one's Mountain Romance, which is a sandalwood from Western Australia because it's nice and soft. Um, there's many different brands that you can get. You just got to choose what you prefer and what you like and what resonates with you. When you're using oils, it's like some people can use them on the skin, some people can't. So, and some oils don't like to sit next to each other. I know everyone just shoves them in the box and goes, oh, there's lovely and nice, they're all together. No, there's a lot that won't like to sit next to each other. And when they do, it's like they do this battle. So when you actually go to smell the oil, you go, ugh, doesn't smell very nice. So some you do have to separate, and there are different books that you can learn all that sort of stuff. Crystals, once again, you can go into a shop and you can, like I do, I walk into a shop, the crystal shop, and Crystal Ocean, for example, up at Yarragon, and I walk in there and I put crystals in my hands, walk around the shop with them, look at everything, as you do, because you can't help yourself. Even Crystal World, oh my God, have you been to Crystal World? Go to Crystal World, that's out near Cranbourne, when you get your license, right? That's a must. I'll get someone to take you out there. And yeah, walk around the shop and just have those crystals in my hand and just feel so completely relaxed with them. And then put them back on the shelf because they don't need to come home with me. They've done their job. And recently, this year so far, I've dropped 4 crystals and 3 have smashed open. So basically that means that they've done their job. So crystals do move, especially if you put them in the ground. And when you're cleansing crystals, people say under the moonlight. I find that gives them a sort of a dodgy vibe. I don't really like that. I do prefer to put them in some rock salt with water, or go to what's better for me, it's personally what I find, you'll find your own way, is the ocean. I go and get some ocean water and some sand. Yeah, my friend Sue knows all about that. She's my culprit, person who helps me out. Yeah, so when you're cleansing them, do it, you can follow the full moon, or sometimes it has to be when you need. And if you're going to put them in the dirt, I do suggest that you put them in a bowl with dirt in it, or otherwise in a pot plant or something like that. I have had crystals that move completely and never been able to find them again. Just simply because I put them straight in the ground and right underneath this particular thing, and right beside this, and they're gone. So they do travel. What else do you need to know about crystals? You'll have your favorite ones. And whenever I get a new crystal, I always walk in the house and introduce it to all the other crystals. I just say, hey, crystals, everyone, we got a new crystal here. That's just what I do. I think that's actually a witchy thing. I can't remember where I got that from. Sorry. But yeah, because all the what we call inanimate objects, if you actually talk to them, you'll get awareness from them. Like, you got your crystal grids as well. There's plenty of crystal grids out there, which you can learn from. Check out YouTube. There's plenty on there. Very nice. The orange is all about the sacral plexus. And that's another thing. Your chakras. You learn all about them as well. And that's also about drawing in money. That's a good money crystal. But being the orange, which is all about relationships, and that's your reproductive system, and that's a relationship to people, the relationship to money, the relationship to yourself. It's a relationship to the world. So it's about everything and everyone. And it's a really huge, dynamic chakra. Pardon me. And it does, in this day and age, it's like we do need a lot of work on that, because we all, so many people that you speak to do have reproductive problems, issues, health problems, whatever, however you want to put it. Sometimes you can actually try it out, is if you wear a particular color, and it happens a lot with orange, people will be repelled. simply because they have their own issues going on with the color orange and their own relationship with their parents or their loved ones or, whoever. So it can really be quite amusing. It's just an interesting test. You don't have to tell anybody, excuse me, that you're doing it. You just go out there and just see what the reaction is. Same with if you're wearing blue. And that's, so, the throat chakra, which is all going on for me at the moment, isn't it? Excuse me. There's a lot of people who will be repelled or will absolutely be drawn to different colors depending on who they're talking to, who they're with, and sometimes, it's nothing to do with you. It's the color you're wearing. And you change the color you're wearing and they're a completely different person. Their whole attitude towards you is completely different. Also, the clear quartz is, they're good favorites to have too, by the way. Clear quartz is very versatile. And if you do a lot of computer work or people who do use computers, because all your computers have got crystals in them, they've got clear quartz crystal in them. A clear quartz crystal, especially electricians and all that sort of stuff, they always have clear quartz crystals. Some of them who are more in tune will actually have ones that they carry in their pocket, but more than likely the guys or people who work on the computers and all that sort of stuff do actually have clear quartz crystals. They're the double-ended terminators are really good and powerful, especially if you're doing spell work and stuff, or you want to draw the energy in. So it's double-ended so that you can bring it in and bring it straight out through to the earth as well, or you can bring it up the other way, coming from the earth, coming up. Get to know how those different energies feel as well, Britt. Anyone else listening? That will help you to talk to your crystals too and feel how they feel. I know when I was first learning, 20-something years ago or more, I used to just sit there with one crystal in a hand and a feather in the other. Actually, I think it was Laurie Colbert's book, one of her books, and just felt tuned into the rock or the feather or the crystal, and would just sit there quietly and see how each one felt. Then with the numerology, when I wanted to learn how to do that and I couldn't get enough people to practice on, and it's like I think I drove all my friends nuts and family nuts. Oh, what's your date of birth? I used to get the girly magazines, the Women's Day, Women's Weekly, those type of things. And I would sit there in my room and just pick one and choose a date of birth and see who, I would tune into the most and see what felt right. And it's like I felt like, I was making up all these stories in my head. And then sometimes, I'd actually go and read an article, or a couple of weeks later would find out that, that particular celebrity or whoever it was did actually have that going on in their life. So don't discount yourself. If you feel a story coming through in your head, like psychically, something's going on and you're just not sure exactly where it's coming from, like you can hear these voices, like you can be on the phone to someone and you're talking about something and all of a sudden you'll hear someone else's voice and you don't know who they are and you have no idea and you think you're going nuts, completely crazy. And all of a sudden, you'll have another conversation with someone and that particular person will come to you, but you've already picked up on it. So, and sometimes, depending on how your health is, you can experience things like tuning in or getting information after the fact, and it's like things that would be normally really helpful if you had known like an hour ago or 2 days ago or a week before, you might find out, 2 weeks later. So don't be surprised, like when you're evolving and you're learning and you're changing everything, like changing within yourself, how you perceive things. You will have different experiences. So I'm so rapt that you are writing things down, because that is so brilliant, because you'll be able to look back on that and it will help you, and it will help to understand what you felt and when. So if you put notes too, it's like, where you're living at the time, what's going on, just a general what's going on, in family life, in the suburb you're living in, what's going on in the world, what's going on in the country. you know, what's hit the newspapers at the moment, like what you're picking up on at the moment, you know, everyone's on the coronavirus, and it's like in the toilet paper and the pasta, and it's like, so just make a note of that too, so that when you do look back and you can say that, you know, I tuned into this, that, and the other, you know, I'll keep those questions coming too. You'll be able to um, understand why you picked up on what you did pick up on. And don't discount it just because you've heard something or you feel something, but it didn't happen or it didn't happen to that particular person. Don't dismiss it. It could mean that it's a past life, that you actually picked up on a past life. And when you're picking up on the past lives, to me, they can either be in colour and they're a glimpse, just a snippet that I can't quite reach. And then other times, depending, if I'm doing like a healing on someone, like the Access Consciousness bars, and I will see heaps. There is just a phenomenal amount that will just come and it's there and there's plenty of it. And then it'll just, there was a time I was having a healing and with a girlfriend, was Jody doing Get a Grip. Plug you, Jodes. And she was doing some stuff on my back, and I was completely in a different world, completely, totally in a different world. Now, there's also Miss Lindy, when she's ready to come out and start her healing business as well. She does a lot of phenomenal stuff, and I highly recommend both of these ladies. I'm sure there's plenty of other wonderful and great healers out there. I've been working with these two ladies for few months, or Jody for a long time, but Lindy for about 2 months maybe now. Yeah, see what happens when you don't write things down. So don't discredit yourself if you have something that you really feel is coming to you, but you're not seeing the results of it, because it just means that it will be somewhere else with someone else, or it could have been a past life, it could be a future life. You know, there's so many different dimensions. You've been given the information for a purpose, for a reason. But like I say, don't let all this sort of bog you down. It's something that you will learn over the years, and it's there's a lot to learn. It's like I'm just giving you a basic, you know, snippet of what else is out there. Do you have any other questions, Britt? You got your psychic vampires too, and there's a lot of people who, or the incubus, who likes to have sex with women in particular who are sleeping. So if anything like that happens, it's like change the energy completely. And if you hear of any of your friends or anything like that having something happen, you've got to sort that out. A couple more questions. How is selenite useful, and what's its properties? That's a good question, because I have selenite all over the place. I got unicorn horns in selenite. I do know that you cannot put it in water because it will just dissolve. I would have to check a book at the moment, Britt. Sorry. It's very similar to the the clear quartz, which will have that's for your crown chakra, which is about connecting to Great Spirit or connecting to the divine, God, gods, goddesses, all that sort of stuff. So, and the angels. Also, does the color of someone's aura define them? No, because it could be, they could have an attachment. They could be going through a particular something. It could be an illness. They could have been a particular, if you see someone's aura and they're it's bright red, they probably just had an argument, and it's like, so you can't take them as being an angry person just because they've had a disagreement with their spouse, and you come along and you nearly walk into them and they got this bright red aura, and it's like, it's like you can't judge them on that. So how can you figure out the color of your own? You can get your photographs taken. I've forgotten what that's called. We were talking about that the other night. With having your aura done, you do have all the colors. They're all different colors. They will change throughout your mood. So it's not a one particular color that stays or anything like that. They shift around, move around. You can clear it. Reiki is really good to do a good clearing for your aura. That does get rid of a lot of crap. There's a lot of energy healing out there that does get rid of a lot of stuff. Simply because we're like sponges and we pick up on so much. And especially when you're a kid, like little small before you're 7, we just absorb everything. And then it's a case of, okay, well, we've got to unabsorb some of this, and you can go anywhere, like, you go to the supermarket, you go to school, you go to, down the street, you go to a friend's place, there's hospitals, cemeteries, all that sort of stuff. And you just pick up on everything, and so much stuff can get stuck in your aura. A good cleaning out of that is really good. And that's a lot of, okay, to start with, is just putting your hands on your body, anywhere, however it feels, because it's Jesus energy, basically, is what they call it. Some people, other people, it's universal divine energy. Whatever, however, it's from up there. It's not from you personally. But you don't waste your hands, okay? Your hands are great. Put them on your body. When you fall over and you hurt your knee, and the first thing you do is go, ow, that's Reiki. You just put your hands on there, and it helps to heal. Now, there's many, many different techniques and lots out there. That's just the basic, but that's what you can start with yourself until you're able to go different places and learn different techniques and find out what it is that you do like and what you don't like, and what resonates with you. And basically, it's not that one healing modality is better than another. It's just what works for you at that time, and what will get rid of or sort out or heal the particular issue you got going on at that particular time. So again, it's like, you hear people say, oh, I tried that and it didn't work. Well, maybe because that was working on the wrong problem, or they really didn't believe it. Yeah, and it's like there's so much out there. Explore, darling. Explore, my dear. Just go and explore. Try different stuff. See what you like best. Do you have any other questions? Oh, when you're doing like an aura cleanse and all that sort of stuff, which you can do in meditations, which are really good. Plenty of meditations out there. So just get on some YouTube and do different stuff. Now, do be aware, if you're feeling negative after you've done a meditation, don't use that one again, because there's a lot of demon energies out there which go into, or they get into, like, they're not deliberately put in there by the person, but they'll go into the devices and the technology and all that sort of stuff, and they find their way through. So I've had a few where I felt great doing them, knocked out completely, just felt so light and everything. And then the next time I've gone and done them, it was like I felt this thing come at me, this black thing, and it's like, ugh, stop that, get rid of that, knock that off. You don't want that sort of thing. Yeah, so oh, that's all at the current moment. Thank you. Oh, you are welcome. I hope that helped you. Okay, love you lots. Love to all the family and pets. And keep your chin up, Dale. Love you lots.